You know, the autofocus really should work when, my goodness, what the heck? There we go. Why, hi there. I'm Ron Juckett, and welcome to the DoDCast postgame show for this Saturday morning, the 22nd day of July, 2017. It's late. It's 5 after 1. And the final score was the Arizona Diamondbacks 6, the Washington Nationals 5. The Diamondbacks got out to a 5-0 lead early, and the Nats climbed all the way back. They started the game, Arizona, with Chris Lacey, who's supposed to be here, is trying to call me on the Hangouts, and so I can't do that. Hold on one more second. 1 sec while I try to get him hooked up. Talks amongst yourselves. Talks amongst yourselves. All right. Game started with back-to-back home runs. Peralta, Pollock, and Lamb off of Scherzer to start the game. I mean, that hasn't happened since the franchise moved to Washington back in 2005. I think I heard them say that the Expos had to happen 6 times to give up 3 straight homers. I had not, happened to start a game since in the majors since 2012, and I think it was Baltimore and Texas that had to happen. And so, however, the Nats has kind of worked their way back to make it a ball game. Now, Eddie Romero gave up a leadoff triple to start the 9th inning. Washington was forced to load the bases, which was absolutely the right call, and then it was a single by Drury to end it. So 6-5 the final. Washington falls to 57-38. Arizona goes to 56-40. Fernando Rodney, of all people, gets the win. He goes to 4-3, and Eddie Romero with a tough luck loss in the sense that once they started the inning with a triple at the bottom of the 9th, there really isn't much you can do. You have an 81% chance of scoring at that point, at least. And so that was it. 5 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Nats. 6 runs, 12 hits, no errors for Arizona. And let's see what you're saying on chat. Judo Joker says, well, not a pretty game, but I got a lot of positives out of it. Also, tonight reinforces my disdain for Eddie Romero's velocity is good. Yes, but so was Trinan. Romero's not a major caliber reliever, in my opinion, though. Has not. No, I disagree with that, Judo. I thought he's impressed me quite a bit. You go back to one of those games against the Braves when he struck out Freeman at 101 and then Adams at 100. Just was not a good pitch to for the triple. And at that point, with the bases, with nobody out in a tie game and a runner on third, you have no place to put. You got to load him. He got the first out with the fly out, which was too shallow. But, the chances of surviving that are just so slim. I don't know why I'm hearing hi, I know why I'm hearing my echo. How you doing, Chris?
Good. How you doing, Ron?
Pretty good. So you must be pretty happy with this. I mean, you can't lose either way, can you?
Nah. That's a good game. Scherzer started by giving up those 3 straight home runs to Peralta, Pollock, and Lamb.
Really just strange. He did not look comfortable, and he kept going to his mouth, if you noticed, too.
Yeah, he did.
Now, you said that earlier in the game that there's not a humidor at the park. It is the monsoon season in Arizona, but it seemed like it was pretty dry there tonight. He got comfortable about the fourth inning.
Yeah.
But he just – was there anything that you saw?
No, I think his velocity was down in the first inning, but other than that, I just thought Peralta had a good first at bat. Then Pollock fouled, and I was surprised that Jake Lamb hit the third consecutive home run. So I just think it was just one of those bad innings that I'm sure Scherzer is going to have. But I think for his next start, he should be fine.
Right. He ended up pitching well, and in fact took a no decision, which if you sat there by 10 o'clock tonight thinking, oh my goodness, he's getting in the process of getting racked. But yeah, I really wouldn't worry about the future, at least with that, because he got his speed back, and once he finally got comfortable, he was himself. I mean, my goodness, he did strike out 9 in the ball game. But those home runs were not cheap either, Chris.
No, they weren't. Pollock smoked one. Peralta, then Pollock and Lamb. So they were all long home runs.
Absolutely, they were. All right. Let's go through the pitching lines. Scherzer, 5 innings, his shortest outing of the year, 8 hits, 5 runs, all earned. However, the ERA goes up to 2.26. Still not, that's give up an ERA of 9 for the game and still have an ERA of 2.26 is pretty good. He walked 2 and struck out 9, the 3 homers to start the game. Joe Blanton struck out the only batter he faced. Matt Grace, again, he had 4 outs. He pitched an inning and 2/3. He struck out 3.
He was great.
And Ryan Manson worked around a double and a walk. You must have thought the game was going to be over then. And
I actually thought Manson was possibly gonna give up a run, but then he struck out CO, and then he got Peralta out as well. So I was very impressed by Manson. That was a great pickup by the Nats to get him.
Absolutely, he struck out 2. Romero with a bad night, a third of an inning, 2 hits, the winning run, and the 2 walks. Of course, no pitches in because they were intentional. Scherzer, 98 pitches, 63 strikes. Blanton, 6 pitches for 3 strikes. Grace, 31 huge pitches for 18 strikes. Manson, 21 for 11. And since Romero doesn't throw any, since you don't throw any pitches on the intentional walk, 11 pitches for 7 strikes. Now, here's something that you probably could have gone to Vegas and lost a lot of money or won a lot of money on. Max Scherzer's game score tonight was 26.
Wow.
That's up there with Glue Factory. Tell us a little bit about Zach Godley. He struck out 10. He seemed to hit.
Godley was actually good to the first time through the order. He held the Nats hitless, and then he was working all his pitches. But then the second time through the order, I figured the Nats would figure him out, and they scored 1 run in the 4th inning. Then he started to walk some guys. Then he had trouble with Harper and also with Murphy. Murphy's been hitting the ball throughout the entire season, so I wasn't surprised that Murphy gave him problems. But it was good to see Godley bounce back because he did strike out 9 against the Braves the last time, but he also gave up 7 runs and 6 earned. So it was good to see Godley actually bounce back because he's actually been one of the better starters in the Arizona's rotation.
Yeah, he looked good. You could tell when he hit the wall, but the first 3 innings he was dynamite.
Yeah.
All right, so Judo Joker says Max fought back well. One of my favorite highlights of him was with the Tigers when he escaped a bases loaded with nobody out jam without allowing a run. He can do that. And he got back to the dugout and was yelling emphatically. Tonight was not that kind of night, but as FP said during the game, his competitive nature kept him from getting yanked into second or third.
Sure.
And kept his team in the game, both in terms of score and attitude. It's one of those cases that we've talked about this before in Matt and Scherzer starts when he goes from super strikeout mode to pitch to contact. He can just change gears better than anyone I've seen in recent times.
Sure, he can.
And tonight he got in trouble, and again, they had 8 hits, I think, by the 3rd inning, and you're right, he kept his team in the game, and he ended up not getting the loss. Drew Douglas, we will not see on camera this series, but will return for the Brewers. Max should have taught Annie how to get out of bases loaded with no outs. It's one of those things I think he'll pick up at some point. I mean, when you start the inning with a runner on third, and when you are as emotional as Romero can be, your chances weren't very good.
No.
If it was a double, probably in a little bit better shape. But then at least you didn't have to throw 8 pitches outside the strike zone, which would have happened in baseball history before. So,
yeah.
But you kind of were robbed a little bit there, Chris, because in most parts that ball would have been gone.
Yeah. Due to the high wall in Chase Field, that's just a regular double or triple.
Yeah, it was a triple. It was it's a absolutely straight triple.
Yeah.
But part of a strange night of baseball across the country. You had the Cardinals plate 11 straight runners on a day against the Cubs.
Yeah.
You had Jamie Garcia, who everyone thought would be a member of the Minnesota Twins by the time that the night was over. He had a grand slam against the Dodgers for the Braves. Yeah,
and also, did you see the home run that Aaron Judge hit in Seattle? It actually broke StatCast.
It broke StatCast. He actually put it. If you haven't seen it, you really should go find it. It actually hit the top. He landed it in the top row of seats in the upper deck in left field. That ball must have traveled 510, 520.
Easily, yeah.
Unbelievable. All right, so let's see. Offensively for the Nats, Godley's game score was 56. He pitched better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the mouse? Okay. Extra base hits. Well, Bryce Harper got his 23rd double of the year, extended his hitting streak to 14 games. That's a career record for him now. Daniel Hits Murphy was 0 for his last 14 and then reached base 3 straight times, a single and 2 doubles. Yeah. And Matt Wieters, of all people, with 2 doubles tonight, including one off the man, the myth, the beard, Archie Bradley. I still say that that's only Charlie Blackmon is a wilder one. So Murph with his RBI now is 72 on the year. Runners in scoring position tonight, 3 for 11. They stranded 7.
Wow.
And Edwin Jackson was a pinch runner tonight for Matt Wieters.
Yeah.
Apparently, seems like old times. So, all right. So let's go through some of these scores today. As we mentioned earlier, the Cardinals beat the Cubs 11-4. Houston down Baltimore 8-7. Baltimore was down, I believe, 8-0 or 8-1. They scored 1 in the 8th and 5 in the 9th, and they fell short.
Yeah.
Philadelphia beat Milwaukee 6-1. Miami, it's like I'm reading every score right now. Miami defeated Cincinnati tonight 3-1. The Reds are just a hot mess.
True.
Jonas Cespedes may not know where he wants to play, but the Mets won 7-5. And that takes care of the division and most of the National League playoff teams. So Pittsburgh is actually within a game of first place in the National League Central because they beat Colorado tonight 13-5. You got to be thrilled to pieces with that one.
I'm happy about that.
And the Yankees, behind Aaron Judge's 3-run kaboom that is being tracked by NORAD and NASA, they beat Seattle 5-1. Atlanta leads Los Angeles 12-3 in the bottom of the 9th. The highlight being Jaime Garcia's grand slam.
Mm-hmm.
So the Dodgers are finally having a slump, which also makes you pretty happy.
It does. It's been a while since they've lost 2 in a row.
Yeah, Judo and Drew say better than I thought it was going to be in the top of the first, and Drew says even with the loss, it turned out a lot better. This Nats team is resilient, and they will come out and keep chipping at you. Tomorrow night, you got someone that gave up 15 hits in his last Double-A start going against Tanner Roark. What can you tell us about the pitcher tomorrow night for Arizona?
Yeah, tomorrow night making his major league debut will be the Diamondbacks top pitching prospect, Anthony Banda. He is a left-hander. He got roughed up in his last start in AAA. He gave up 15 hits and 7 runs over 5 innings. He has a fastball, a curveball, and a changeup. His fastball topped out at 96, and his curveball is his out pitch, and his changeup is below average. I think Banda is gonna maybe pitch well. He might do similar to what guy did on tonight. Get you the first time through the lineup without any issues. But then I think that's what actually get to him when they see him the second and third time through the order.
So you'll probably see another combination of Goodwin in center and Rayburn in left again.
Probably
because you're not going to use Lind against the lefty.
No.
It's a night game. It's an 8:40 Eastern time start, so it should be. So there, unless it goes extra innings, there will be no 1:20 a.m. post-game shows for that. But overall, I mean, yes, I mean this team continues to fight back when down, and you figured you went into this game and you said, here's Scherzer, he's pitching like Clayton Kershaw's robotics industry, and just had the bad start, but they happened to bounce back from it. And you know what? I'm surprised in the tie game in the ninth that Doolittle had started to warm if the Nats had scored. But you get into that conundrum again. Do you wait till you score the run and to use him as a closer, or do you throw him out there and hope that Arizona can't score?
Well, I think since you're on the road, you don't want to use your closer in case you get the lead, because then if you use Doolittle, then who's going to close? Do you really trust Romero or possibly Matt Albers to actually be able to get 3 outs?
I think at that point you probably would have gone with Albers, considering you had used Grace earlier. If you hadn't used Grace, then yeah, I mean he had the 2 big saves last week. Judo Joker says, I hope for Vegas' sake nobody bet on Max giving up the 3 straight homers, the Cards beating the Cubs, the Braves beating the Dodgers, and a Braves pitcher hitting a grand slam. Nevada would go red. I can't imagine, Judo, the odds on that prop bet. You've got a better chance of being hit by lightning as you win the Powerball than all that happening.
True.
Especially since Garcia wasn't supposed. I didn't think he was going to pitch. I mean, the whole scuttlebutt.
No, I think the Braves, they're still talking to the team, so Garcia is still still on their roster until they can find a trade that they actually like.
Well, they just got a couple better prospects for him than they would have before that.
True.
So, all right, let's go through the minor league scores tonight. Everything is final at this hour. Syracuse won.
Nice.
They beat Columbus 9-4, 9 runs and 16 hits and an error. Long with the win, 4.61 the ERA, and Almanzar hit his 8th of the year for Syracuse. They go to 34-63. Harrisburg shut out Binghamton tonight. Woohoo! 1-0.
Wow.
Estevez with a win. 3-1 on the year with a 3.15 ERA. Brian Laura hit his first home run of the year. How about that? Oh, no, got the save. His first save of the year. I read to these things too far ahead of time. Jose Marmoleos hit his 9th of the year. That was a lone run. That came in the 8th inning. Let's see. Potomac losers to Lynchburg tonight, 3-2. Williams with the loss. He goes to 1-2 with a 1.93 ERA. No homers there. Hagerstown beats Charleston. That's a big one because they both are within a game of each other. Hagerstown, 4 runs on 3 hits and an error. Davis with a win. Boy, you know that. 1-3 on the year with a 9.72 ERA.
Wow.
That's not a misprint, 9.72, but he got the win. And Howard with the second save. Auburn losers tonight in New York Penn League action to Mahoning Valley. Barnett with a loss, 2-2 with a 1.13 ERA. They had 3 errors in this game, so I can't imagine any of those runs were earned. No home runs. And if you were wondering, speaking of bad vets in Vegas, if you were hand bunny on the Dominican Summer League Nationals, they lost today to the Red Phillies 11-4. Vallejo takes the loss. He goes to 0-4 with a 6.58 ERA. Porte, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, did have his second home run of the year. So that catches you up on the minor leagues. So all in all, I mean, you don't want to be Pollyanna here and say you can take positives out of a loss, Chris.
Yeah.
But considering how the game started, when you have the best pitcher right now in baseball do what he did, and he gets out of it with no decision, you take that sort of thing. I mean, those are the sort of things that you look at as a moral victory.
Sure, yeah, because Scherzer started off bad, but he did what he always does. He rebounded and kept the Nats in the game, kept them in the game, and provided their offense with the chance to actually come back to possibly win it. And he almost did if Romero didn't give up the leadoff triple to Pollock in the ninth inning.
Right. You know, that really it did change the game. You know, Romero's inexperience kind of came through there, and he's an emotionally raw pitcher. You know, he wears them on his sleeve, and it just makes it so difficult for that runner not to score. I mean, it was absolutely the right decision to load the bases. But, you know, he'd have to be Harry Houdini to get out of that.
I know, yeah.
All right, so Chris actually wrote up the preview for this series. You can go and read that at districtondeck.com. If you're watching this video on Glorious Tape, like it, hit subscribe. We do this after every game. Give us a like on Facebook and follow us at District on Deck on Twitter. Ricky Keeler will be with you the rest of the series. 8:40 tomorrow for Tanner Rourke and the kid. And Judo says, I'm sure all those all-stars are tired on the road too. Well, it's been a pretty easy trip too. And they've had 2 days off this week. And Sunday's game, I believe, is a 4:40 Eastern time start. Steven Strasburg and Robbie Ray, which should be a very good pitchers matchup.
It will be, yeah.
So big games for the Diamondbacks too, as they try to. I'm not sure they're going to catch the Dodgers.
No way, not happening.
But as they try to keep their wild card hope, you know, that host the wild card game is what they'd love to do, and that's what they can do right now. So big series, and then of course we had the 2 big series coming up: the Brewers, and the Rockies when they get home next week. So for Chris Lacey and the rest of the staff at District on Deck, I'm Ron Juckett. Hope you get a good night's sleep and have a very good Saturday morning. Good night. As soon as there we go.